I didn't think it was possible to write a book as awful as this. I literally didn't think humans were capable of such racist, sexist poppycock. Tahani Al-Jamil, best-selling author of Get Out of the Spotlight. Quotes. Chip gazed at the sexy outline of the murder victim on the floor. What a waste of curves, he growled. She's sitting on the lap of angels now. He checked his Rolex watch, which was real. It was almost 12 o'clock, so the case would have to wait. Good thing he'd already solved it. Wow, this is apparently from 6 Feet Under Par by Brent Norwalk, The Good Place by Michael Shore. Wow. We're starting off really strong by focusing on a dead person being sexy versus, oh hey, a literal murder took place. Maybe we should focus on important things at the crime scene, like if we can find any other like footprints or any other kind of proof that someone else was there, you know. But no, we're gonna focus that the victim was sexy because that's what women are good for on the subreddit. Hello BabyQueers and welcome back to my channel. It is time for some men writing women, but with a little twist, because I found a subreddit called Men Writing Men, which turns out is just as bad, really. These people are just incapable of writing people as fully realized characters, and instead just focus on weird things, as you'll see. But you know the drill. Before we look at any more of these wonderful posts, go get hydrated, grab some water, or some tea, or whatever else you like to drink, and then we'll continue with some memes. Are you hydrated? Good, let's go. Thank you for this, Brendan Sanderson. Men often describe the girl as having hair the color of wheat. Others called it the color of caramel, or occasionally the color of honey. The girl wondered why men so often used food to describe women's features. There was a hunger to such men that was best avoided. Wow. I'm not sure I should have used the good post second, but yeah, why the weird comparisons, really? Because why? I mean, I guess if it's really necessary to describe someone using food, which is something people are like familiar with, is kind of helpful. But most of the time, we're describing, or like we're seeing authors describe people or features of these people that really don't matter. Like, do I really care what her hair color is exactly? But to be fair, it beats using fruits to describe this woman's breasts, so I guess. Lana Lee was on a bar stool, her legs crossed in tan suede trousers, her muscular buttocks pinning the stool to the floor and commanding it to support her in perfect vertical form. When she moved slightly, the great muscles of her nether cheeks rippled to life to prevent the stool from leaning and tottering even an inch. The muscles rippled around the cushion of the stool, grabbed it, and holding it erect. Long years of practice and usage had made her rump an unusually versatile and dexterous thing. Her body had always amazed her. She had received it free of charge, yet she had never bought anything that helped her as much as that body had. At these rare moments when Lana Lee grew sentimental or even religious, she thanked God for his goodness in forming a body that was also a friend. She repaid the gift by giving it magnificent... What? You know that gravity is a thing, and that if you just sit on a chair or a stool, it's gonna stay in place as long as you lean too far. But the image of the butt like grabbing the stool is what you just put in my head with this. Like her butt just like grabbing out onto the chair. Wait. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure we've heard of butts being alive before on the subreddit. We definitely had a lot of boobs, you know, acting like a wild puppy or something. Picture that how you will, really. But someone's butt? That's a new one. I'm not sure that's better, because both of these are very weird, but oh well. Winkler by Giles Corrin. Oh god. settle in, and he came hard in her mouth, and his dick jumped around and rattled on her teeth, and he blacked out, and she took his dick out of her mouth and lifted herself from his face and whipped the pillow away, and he gasped and clucked at the air, and he came again so hard that his dick wrenched out of her hand, and a shot of it hit him straight in the eye and stung like nothing he ever had in there, and he yelled in pain, but the yell could have been anything. And as she grabbed at his dick, which was leaping around like a shower dropped in an empty bath, she scratched his back deeply with the nails of both hands, and he shot 3 more times in thick stripes on her chest like Zorro. I have read fanfiction with more accurate descriptions than this. What is this? What is this? I've often wondered on the subreddit whether it's just like some deranged fantasy, but in this case, it must be. What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? Don't read this. Go read fanfiction. Trust me, like, it's not gonna be all good, but it's gonna be more accurate most of the time than this, because what is this? Oh my god. Her perfume hung about her as heavily as her jewels. Her breasts surged against the dress like seas threatening to swamp the gunwales of a boat. Mine usually just kind of sit there, but okay. Yeah. What? I mean, you're aware that if someone breathes, their chest moves with it slightly. And depending on the kind of dress or shirt you're wearing, it might look like something is about to fall out. But what? Moves like a sea threatening to swamp the gunwales on a boat. You're aware that breathing and like waves on an ocean move differently. Downstairs in the kitchen, Darby brewed a puck of thick French market chicory. The blue number on the microwave said it was now 10 minutes before 6. For a light drinker, life with Callahan was a constant struggle. Her limit was 3 glasses of wine. She had neither a law license nor a job, and she could not afford to get drunk every night and sleep late. And she weighed 112 pounds and was determined to keep it there, and he had no limit. She drank 3 glasses of ice water, then pulled a timer. Okay, what? Again. I know a lot of people are constantly obsessing over their weight. But does that mean you need to enforce that kind of thing in your writing? Because all you're doing is kind of enforcing the idea that this is how it's supposed to be. And I know you probably think it is, that, oh, your woman shouldn't be like more than whatever pounds. Y'all. Who gives a shit? What are you doing? I'll sit in the hotel room, he said, and watch Buster Friendly on TV. His guest for the last 2 days had been Amanda Wiener. I like her. I could watch her for the rest of my life. She has breasts that smile. Again, I can't really picture that. Like a lot of these descriptions of boobs, I don't know what to picture. Because they're like, what? What? Okay. And now we're switching to Men Writing Men. As promised, you'll see it's not better. But you know, let's see what we find. Eric looked down at his own body as if noticing it for the first time. The passage of time and the rigors of his life since being taken prisoner had hardened him to a fitness beyond what he had known at Ravensburg. Always strong, but he had lost a softer outer layer of fat, and now his powerful smith chest and shoulders were rippling muscles, as if he had been caught by a sculpture of the heroic. He said, "Yeah, I've always been big for my age." Okay, this one is unrealistic, really, but it's not quite as bad yet. Like, we still have some potential, you know? I mean, limiting down men to just how they look is obviously just as unnecessary, but I don't know. I think we can do worse than this. Come on. It's nice to see you again too, man. And don't mention it, I save people's lives all the time. Susan smiled at me, giving Molly the female once-over, a process by which one woman creates a detailed profile of another woman based upon a million subtle details of clothing, makeup, jewelry, and body type, and then decides how much of a social threat she might be. Men have a parallel process, but it's binary. Does he have beer, and if yes, will he share it with me? Okay, this is giving men writing women like vibes, because it's like, okay, just women constantly compare themselves to each other, because again, yeah, a lot of people in general compare themselves to others a lot. Doesn't mean you gotta enforce it in your writing. And also, the whole, oh, men like beer and that's all they care about is already so old and so dumb. But I'm not sure which one I'm more mad at in this one. This detective just can't handle meeting women. In her presence, I found nothing strange that the goddess of the river was Nigerian. So, you're the wizard's boy, said Mama Thames. I thought that was an agreement. I found my voice. I believe it was more of an arrangement. I was fighting the urge to fling myself to my knees before her and put my face between her breasts and go blubby blubby blubby. When she offered me a seat, I was so hard it was painful to sit down. I caught Blavillery sneaking behind her hand, so did Mama Thames, who sent the teenager scuttling for the kitchen. This I know for a fact. The reason African women have children is so that there's always someone to do the housework. Again, man, all you're doing is making yourself seem bad. Like, at least her boobs didn't come alive in this one, which is why this is a men writing men, because this is about how ridiculous men are. She's a person that you're like asking questions about some kind of case, and again, you're just focused on describing how horny you are for her. Okay. And we're just gonna ignore the rest of this post because it really doesn't get better after the making yourself seem bad, because all you're doing is making yourself seem worse. Or you just want us to hate this character. Do you want us to hate this character? Is that the goal? Because then I think you did it quite well. Okay, so I was reading this news story. Man survives week in remote Alaska wilderness after cabin burnt down, writes SOS in snow. A man managed to survive more than 3 weeks in the rugged Alaskan wilderness after his remote cabin burned down until he was rescued last week by state troopers who spotted an SOS signal stamped in the snow. So far so normal, right? But then, Steele's shoulder-length hair, chestnut brown near the roots fading to a golden blonde near its straight tips, hung matted and dreadlock-like over his neck. His auburn beard flowed untrimmed to his chest. Alaska State Trooper Ken Marsh wrote in the recap of the rescue. Like, what? And then, his clothes smelled of smoke and his hands were calloused, rough, and ash-stained. Like, I think Alaska State Trooper Ken Marsh wants to be a romance novelist. Ken Marsh, freelance writer, self-employed. I recently retired from my position within the state of Alaska as a public information officer with the Alaska State Troopers. My professional background includes... Wow, it's chill, look at that. I mean, as weird as this description is for an informant, because kind of making clear that he looks very rugged, very unnecessary, because we would all expect someone to just like survived like 2 or 3, more than 3 weeks in rugged wilderness to not not look like neatly trimmed and like brushed. So it's kind of unnecessary, but at least it's not as sexist yet. Honestly, I'm beginning to worry that these posts are gonna be just as like terrifyingly sexist towards women as well, if we find any that are, because this one, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but it's funny, this one. We started making out on the sofa in the living room, and feeling that I had to be cool like I'd been there before, I reached out and placed my hand firmly on her breast and gave it a little squeeze, like I was gauging the ripeness of an avocado. This contact was of course hugely thrilling, but I was already craving more. After a bit of time groping her above the shirt, I wanted to be romantic after all and take my time. I let my hand float down to T's midsection, landing at the bottom of a tank top with a tentative confidence that I can best liken to Captain Solingback landing Flight 1529 in the Hudson River. Again, if you're trying to describe a sexy scene, this is better than the other one we had earlier, but what? I mean, at least you're not comparing her boobs to avocados. But I don't think, if you're trying to be like romantic or erotic, touching someone's boobs like you're trying to like test if an avocado is ripe is like a good step. But oh well, you might find someone who's into that, probably. But then going on to say something is like landing a plane, like, what are you doing? Again, go read some fan fictions, dear author, and get some inspiration, because you're gonna find a lot of cringy stuff in fan fictions probably, but still, most of them will describe things in a way more erotic way than this. My god. Okay, no, we're gonna have to read this whole one. Winston had finished his bread and cheese. He turned a little sideways in his chair to drink his mug of coffee. At the table on his left, man with a strident voice was still talking remorselessly away. A young woman who was perhaps a secretary, who was sitting with her back to Winston, was listening to him and seemed to be eagerly agreeing with everything that he said. From time to time, Winston caught such a remark as, "I think you're so right, I do so agree with you," uttered in a youthful and rather silly feminine voice. But the other voice never stopped for an instant, even when the girl was speaking. Winston knew the man by sight, though he knew no more about him than he held some important post at the fiction department. He was a man of about 30, with a muscular throat and a large mobile mouth. Okay, I can see why you underlined this part, because the one above it, again, it's giving kind of men writing women, and oh, it's such a silly feminine voice. Well, maybe that's just her voice, and since she's a woman, it's gonna sound feminine. What? But then, I mean, muscular throat. What does a muscular throat even look like? But that's not even the bad part, because fair, maybe you're right. But a large, okay, large mouth, fine. Mobile, because you already said plenty that he doesn't shut up apparently. But mobile mouth, like it just moves around his face. That's what I'm picturing. That's not what you meant probably, but that's what most people are gonna picture. Fenval flew in from Big Magnet at sunup, as you know. He came home as soon as possible. That is the history of that. McReady's great brown beard gestured towards the thing on the table. Y'all's beards gesture. It's the same as like boobs jumping excitedly, or like showing that a woman is depressed for some reason. But beards gesturing, I can picture it. But again, it's probably not what you meant to describe. She hadn't really looked at it before, either in a bedroom or in the warehouse, but now she looked and studied it and felt her throat constrict with desire. This wasn't the bright, eager stalker of a boy, but a man's veteran piece, thick and experienced and rough-looking, covered with veins and ridges like a club, almost scary. A veteran dick, apparently. Again, I can't tell if you're trying to be sexy, because if you're saying her throat constricts with desire, I can kind of only imagine you're trying to be sexy, but none of this description is like sexy. I'm confused. It took a while, which is very weird on the subreddit, but I am confused. We're moving on from this post. Women need love to have sex. Men need sex to have love. So how do we do this? Sex education, self-love, and spirit. I hate this. I hate this so much. Because for some people, this might be true. Like, some women don't want to have sex with someone unless they're like in love with them, which is cool. And some men usually like focus on the sexual attraction first and then fall in love, which in and of itself, as long as like you're honestly just honest about it, isn't a bad thing either. If you lie about it, like if you pretend to be in love with someone just to sleep with them, don't do it, obviously. Like, that's another story. But if you're honest about it, that's cool. But you just limit down everyone to like, okay, no, men are only this way and women are only this way. It's so redundant and it's so stupid. It's so stupid. Because again, how do you like expect everyone to fit neatly into these two categories? First of all. And second of all, you're just making everyone seem bad. My god. Now this one. We have reached peak frustration. Feminine. Synonyms for feminine: ladylike, soft, dainty, female, tender, womanly, effeminate, womanish. First part, not even so bad, but let's look at the synonyms for masculine. Macho, manly, muscular, adult, ape, beefcake, bold, brave, caveman, gallant, hardy, hunk, jock, male, stallion, stud, tuna? Why tuna? Anyways, courageous, generative, hairy, honorable, manful, mannish, potent, powerful, red-blooded, resolute, robust, stout-hearted, strapping, strong, two-fisted, vigorous, virile, well-built. I'm sorry, what? Someone commented, while researching definitions for an exhibition title, I came across these. If you look up the definition for righteous indignation, I am pretty sure you will find a picture of me looking up these definitions. Yeah. Like, if you just see the ones for feminine, whatever. I do think it's weird that people expect feminine presenting people to be all like cute and dainty, because if you are that, again, fine. If that's who you are, that's cool. But again, you can't just expect every woman to be the same. And also you trying to dictate how a woman is very rude. Stop it. But then be like, okay, no, women are just like soft and dainty and cute. And then men can be a lot of things. Not all of these are sounding positive either. But still, the amount of options alone. Because men are allowed to be a lot of things, unless it's feminine, which is also dumb. But still, what are you doing? My god. Upstairs, Richie Benedetti sat in a wingback chair facing the terrace over the Grand Canal. He draped himself in a big British newspaper and crossed his legs the tough guy way, displaying every contour of his ballsack in his tight, custom-tailored suit pants with a long expanse of brightly patterned socks, solid loafers with a garish logo. Again, it was very unnecessary. Like, if you want to describe, oh yeah, he's sitting down in a matcha way, okay, fine, yeah, maybe that's who this character is, that's okay, but was it absolutely necessary to describe that you can see like every inch of his ball sack contorted in his pants? Because I think the fuck not. Crouch end. Andreas was waiting for me when I got in. I could tell the moment I opened the door because of the smell coming from the kitchen. Andreas is a fantastic cook. He cooks in a very masculine way. Rattling pans, throwing in the ingredients without measuring them, everything high speed on roaring flames with a glass of red wine in hand. I've never seen him consult a cookery book. The table was laid for two with candles and flowers that looked like they come from a garden, not a shop. He grinned when he saw me and gave me a hug. Okay. We're gonna stop right there because I don't think cooking everything like high speed and with open flames or whatever is showing someone's a good cook. Because some things call for that kind of thing, sure. But in a masculine way. What? I'm confused. I am confused. I mean, gender roles in general confuse me because I usually have a hard time even telling anymore. Like, there are things I can pinpoint, like, oh yeah, a lot of people think this is masculine, a lot of things think this is feminine. Like, some things I can tell. I still think it's ridiculous and don't see why anyone would get hung up about it and be like, okay, no, I'm a man and that is considered feminine, so I can't do it even though I want to do it. Because I know people are assholes about it, but I still don't see why we get so hung up about it. But then there are things like, okay, this cooking's considered masculine. That just confuses me because it makes no sense. My god. Richard broke into sobs, letting his forearm dangle like a useless penis. Someone just posted this. I am so mad. Who makes comparisons like this? This is what I mean. They're at least describing men in the way they're trying to describe women now, but still, like, I'm not sure that comparison is gonna be useful, really. The first letter had masculine handwriting and said, "Dear Evely, I love you more than a bird loves the morning sun. Every second I'm away from you is the moment wasted. I am yours forever, Myra." The next was written by a woman and said, wow, masculine. The most masculine of handwritings, apparently. Because again, especially with handwriting, I've heard it too many times though to be like, oh, it's like saying to a guy like, oh, you have really pretty handwriting, like it looks like a girl wrote it. Which is, it's so dumb. Like, of course, everyone has different handwriting. And then to be like, okay, no, but this looks feminine and this looks masculine is so ridiculous. Because it really doesn't matter. Like, that's just how they write, right? As long as you can like read it if you need to read it, then it's okay. I don't care if it looks masculine or feminine. I just care if I can read it, you know? Well, I'm confused. 10 things you didn't know about men. Men have many holes that are good for pouring yogurt into. Men are made of cotton. This is why they're unable to love. Men enjoy cramped spaces, stuff a man in a mailbox, and watch his eyes go blue with wonder. There are no men in the Great Lake region. They were carried away screaming in the spring of 1993. Most men are snollygosts. Others are hobbledehoids, who are easily flummoxed. Men have no sense of smell. Set a rotten sack aflame in the presence of a man. Does he react? No, he does not. Never ask a man to think deeply about things. Within 5 minutes, he will become a potato. Men would like nothing more than to play their fiddles in peace. Can we give them this? Of course we cannot. Men love to be dropped out of helicopters. Drop 3 at a time and watch them arch their back in ecstasy. All men are named Glenn. Yeah, we're gonna end on this one. because it is so dumb and so silly. That is probably the best post we're gonna find on the subreddit, because it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, obviously, and it's just kind of poking fun at people who just like limit people down, be like, oh yeah, no, men can't love, and they're all pigs, and they don't have a sense of smell, which is why they don't smell if they're stinky. And I appreciate that. Okay, that's it. That's it. We're really gonna end on this one, because otherwise we're gonna get frustrated, you know, because a lot of these posts do just kind of seem to repeat, and these very bad descriptions just all start to sound the same because they all don't really make sense, you know. So anyways, I hope that if you're a writer or aspiring to be a writer, you maybe took some things from this video of how not to do things, really, because some of these are just so weird. So weird. If you're writing satire, or if you're writing something to make fun of these kind of authors, go big. Just go big. Because then it's funny, but still. If you're just like writing something, maybe don't do these things, you know. But anyways, I hope you had fun. I hope you're hydrated, and I will see you in 3 days with my next video.